Wesley Snipes, $23 million, tax disaster, wealth failure. Wesley Snipes didn't rise quietly. He didn't sneak into Hollywood or slowly build momentum. He exploded onto the scene. In the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, Wesley Snipes became one of the most recognizable and bankable actors in the world. He wasn't just working. He was defining an era. Action films, crime dramas, comedies, martial arts. Then came Blade, a character that didn't just succeed, it reshaped the industry. Before cinematic universes were normal, Blade proved that dark, niche characters could dominate the box office, and Wesley Snipes was the engine behind it. At his peak, Snipes commanded millions per film. Studios weren't deciding whether to cast him. They were negotiating how much control he would get. By the early 2000s, his earnings were staggering. Tens of millions of dollars flowed through his name. Conservative estimates put his career earnings well over $40 million, with individual years paying him more than $10 million per film. From the outside, this looked like success on autopilot. Money, fame, influence, momentum. But behind the scenes, something fundamental was breaking. Not because he wasn't earning enough, not because Hollywood stopped calling, not because his talent faded, because structure was missing and belief replaced discipline. At some point during his rise, Wesley Snipes became convinced that the tax system did not apply to him. Not that he owed less, not that his filings were wrong, but that he didn't need to participate at all. Between 1999 and 2004, Snipes failed to file federal income tax returns. Not late, not incorrectly. He didn't file. For multiple consecutive years, while earning millions. And it didn't stop there. During that same period, he allegedly attempted to claim millions of dollars in fraudulent tax refunds based on theories that had already been rejected by every federal court in the country. Claims that wages were not income, claims that federal taxation was voluntary, claims that the Internal Revenue Service had no authority over him. These weren't loopholes, they were fringe ideas, the kind that circulate in seminars and newsletters, not courtrooms. Here's what separates this story from a simple tax mistake. The IRS didn't ambush him. They sent notices, they issued warnings, they offered opportunities to correct course. This wasn't a surprise audit. This was a long runway to fix the problem, and Snipes didn't take it. He doubled down. Letters were sent, deadlines passed, positions hardened. Eventually, the government stopped asking. 2006, Wesley Snipes was indicted on multiple federal charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and filing false claims for tax refunds. This wasn't about politics. It wasn't about celebrity. It wasn't about punishing success. It was about refusal. In court, prosecutors laid out the timeline. Years of income, years of non-filing, years of ignored warnings. The defense argued belief. They argued misunderstanding. They argued intent. But belief doesn't matter in a compliance system. Courts don't rule on ideology. They rule on filings. In 2008, the verdict arrived. Snipes was acquitted of the most serious felony charges, but convicted on 3 misdemeanor counts of willful failure to file tax returns. To many people, that sounded like a partial win. It wasn't, because misdemeanors still carry consequences when the pattern is clear. In 2010, Wesley Snipes reported to federal prison. He served nearly 3 years. 3 years, at the height of a career that should have compounded for decades. 3 years where leverage disappeared. 3 years where Hollywood moved on without him. No filming, no negotiations, no momentum. This is the part most people underestimate. Prison didn't just remove his freedom, it removed timing. And timing is one of the most valuable assets in wealth. What rarely gets talked about is the psychological and structural cost of that kind of interruption. When someone's career is rising, momentum creates forgiveness. Studios tolerate risk. Investors tolerate complexity. People assume problems are temporary. But when momentum stops, everything is reevaluated. While Wesley Snipes was incarcerated, the industry recalibrated without him. New stars filled the lanes he once dominated. New franchises replaced the ones he anchored. New faces became the safe bets. Hollywood didn't blacklist him. It did something worse. It adjusted. An adjustment is permanent. This is how wealth erosion actually happens. Not in one dramatic collapse, not in a single bad decision, but through stalled compounding. Every year you're not building leverage, someone else is. Every year your momentum pauses, your negotiating power decays. Every year you're reacting instead of structuring, the system tightens. When Snipes came back, he was no longer building from a position of expansion. He was rebuilding from a position of explanation, explaining the past, explaining the gap, explaining the risk. And explanations weaken leverage. That's the cost most people never calculate. Compliance failure doesn't just cost money, it costs narrative control. It changes how banks see you, how partners see you, how insurers, distributors, and investors price you. You stop being the asset and start being the question mark. Hollywood doesn't pause, industries don't wait, opportunities don't hold their place. When Snipes returned, he worked again, but the leverage was gone. The conversations were different. Before it was, what do you want to do next? After it became, what are you available for? That's not total collapse, but it is a permanent shift in position, and that shift compounds quietly. The IRS later claimed that Snipes owed more than $23 million in back taxes, penalties, and interest. That number matters, but the real cost was invisible. Lost years at peak earning power, lost negotiating leverage, lost momentum. This is where most people misunderstand the lesson. The takeaway isn't pay your taxes, that's surface level. The real lesson is about structure. High income without structure attracts enforcement. You can earn millions and still be fragile. You can be famous and still be exposed. You can have advisors, accountants, and attorneys and still fail if you outsource responsibility without understanding the system. Wesley Snipes didn't fail because he didn't earn enough. He failed because income arrived before structure and belief replaced compliance. This is the trap. High earners assume success creates immunity. It doesn't. It creates visibility. Income without structure invites attention. Income without compliance invites enforcement. Income without discipline collapses eventually. This is why O.N.C.E exists. Own nothing. Control everything. Control doesn't mean rebellion. Control means systems. High earners don't avoid taxes by pretending they don't exist. They manage exposure legally. They use entities. They plan ahead. They document everything. They separate income from identity. They don't confuse belief with execution. Because the IRS doesn't care how talented you are. It doesn't care how influential you are. It doesn't care how convinced you are that you're right. It only cares whether the paperwork exists and whether the structure supports the numbers. Most people don't fail with taxes because they're criminals. They fail because they delay boring systems while chasing exciting income. They assume they'll fix it later. Later is where penalties live. Wesley Snipes' story is extreme, but the pattern is common. High income first, structure later, then panic. O.N.C.E flips that order. Structure first, income second, compliance always. Because wealth isn't just about how much you make. It's about how long you're allowed to keep playing the game. And the game has rules, whether you agree with them or not. If you want to understand how ownership, structure, and compliance actually work, without myths, without fringe theories, and without expensive lessons, join the free O.N.C.E School community. It's where we break down how control is built quietly, legally, and sustainably. Because talent might get you paid once, structure is what lets you stay paid.